Okay, I guess we had a little glitch there in our internet, so we went down for a minute. Anyway, I was right in the middle of talking about unschooling or natural learning, and apparently our internet did not like that very much. Um, anyway, unschooling is something that we can use here in the state of Florida. You do not need a formal curriculum. By law, we're not required to have a formal curriculum. And what it really is based on is the premise of unschooling is that children have a natural curiosity to learn. They want to learn, and instead of one size fits all, they kind of get to learn and study what they want. A subject matter, they have a goal that they have, but they have regardless of the time or needs or interest that you would have about that. The child kind of dictates what they want to learn about. As a traditional school teacher, I've been working on lesson plans getting ready, so I like to plan out my school year. And if you aim at nothing, sometimes I feel like you'll hit it every time. So to not have a plan and just to kind of wander through, unschooling is a little scary for me, but there are people who have done it. There is a whole generation here in Florida, some moms who just completely unschooled their children, and they did it just fine. They just learned how to read and do everything pretty much on their own whenever they were interested or ready to learn. I remember speaking with one mom, and her children were probably my age, maybe a little bit younger than my age, and she had homeschooled hers all the way up, and she had unschooled them. And I was really curious to know about it, and I said, so how did they learn to read? And she said when they were ready, they just picked it up and kind of figured it out themselves. And I said, well, like how old were they? And they said about, she would read to them to a certain point, but when they got to be a certain age, they could figure out when they were about 10. She said her daughter just decided she wanted to learn how to read and pulled out the materials to learn how to read and taught herself. So I thought that was very interesting. And she told me that I believe she had 4 children, and they all unschooled, went on to college, and did fine, but they knew that every day they had, now there was some discipline, there was some structure, they had to work on whatever they wanted to for a certain amount of time. So if they were doing it for 10 minutes or a couple hours, they could work on whatever they wanted to during that time, but very unstructured learning. Lots of hands-on learning with that, lots of other things you can do. I think next time on Thursday we're going to talk a little bit more about Montessori and Steiner, Waldorf learning. There's lots of different ones we can talk about. Charlotte Mason, all of those are kind of similar but a little bit different, what they are and what they kind of bring to the table. My personal thought is most people are an eclectic homeschooler. We find that we like a little bit of each different type of curriculum. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. There's no wrong way to drink your coffee. Okay? You can have it however you want. What's your brew? I always thought that I would never, ever, ever be into notebooking. I thought that looked messy and a lot of work. But you know what? I found out I really like it for kids. It gives another level of hands-on for your history and science. So you need to try a lot of different things to find out what you like. One thing you can like, I might really, really, really enjoy a very, very classical, traditional style math. Not classical, a very traditional math, because that is how my personal style is. I like a traditional math. I enjoy teaching Abeka, especially for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. It's very structured, front and the back of a page. I love that structure for math because it's very structured. Whereas for history, I would want to do something that is more of a notebooker. Make it more interesting, and I love history. Why not? We do classes here and we do world history with literature. So that means whatever we're doing in world history, we're also reading a book that goes along with that, or American history. So let's say we're studying the Holocaust, we might be reading Night to make it a little more hands-on, or we might be studying the American Revolution and doing a biography of George Washington. So there's nothing wrong with kind of mixing those styles together. Most of us will find out that we are very eclectic in it, that you can do a mix of a lot of different things. And I personally like a very, very structured base. So I like to use Abeka because it's very structured. You know, read the chapter, answer the questions. It's structured every 3 weeks. There's a test or quiz in high school. I like the structure for high school. And elementary, they do a test 1 week, quiz 1 week, test 1 week, quiz 1 week. I like that structure, and everybody kind of knows what to expect. But I think pulling in all these other resources, I love pulling in other things to read, other books to read. So you, when you're homeschooling, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about doing Abeka Video and how they like to use the Abeka Video, the Abeka Academy classes for their history and science, but they personally enjoy teaching the math and the grammar. And that's great. If you are a math and grammar person, you can teach it yourself and pull in extras for I call them specials, for your extra things. Or maybe you're not a math person and you want to use a video. And now we have so many resources as homeschoolers, teaching textbooks. Almost every math curriculum